Okay, so here we are. There's my beach house. We're at the beach. We're at the ocean. You know, for ever and ever, they thought the ocean was just like flat and the bottom was sandy and, maybe an island sticking up here and there, but we had no way of seeing what the ocean floor looked like. Then, in this century, in the past century, they came up with what we call sonar. They could use sound waves to look at the bottom of the ocean, and so we're able to completely map it, and we've made some amazing discoveries. So here we are. Here's my beach house. Okay, please be sure to knock before you come in. And as we go out into the water, when we first start going out in the water, this sticks way out from the continent. This is called the Continental Shelf. Right, the Continental Shelf. That's the part of the beach when we first walk out into the water. Then as we go far enough, depending on where we are, deeper and deeper, this would be the continental slope. So the continental slope drops down from the continental shelf down to the ocean floor. Now we're going to come over here, and we come to the flattest place on Earth, called the Abyssal Plain. The Abyssal Plain, the flattest place on Earth. In some places, we have a deep sea trench. Now you'll learn more about this in plate tectonics, but the deepest place in the ocean is called a deep sea trench. Okay, and if we go on and on and on, we come to this chain of mountains that splits up the ocean. The longest chain of mountains in the world is called the mid-ocean ridge, and right down the middle we have something called the Rift Valley. So you got this chain of mountains that's being built up because it's this divergent boundary you can see here where the ocean floor is actually splitting apart. And it forms the mid-ocean ridge, which, like I said, is the longest chain of mountains on Earth. Okay, now we have seamounts. Now seamounts can be just under the water, kind of deep. A seamount is generally a volcano. There are far more volcanoes under the ocean floor than there are above the water, so we don't even see them. But many of these these seamounts are underwater and they're volcanoes. Sometimes they will build up and build up and build up until they stick up above the water. And so when we call it an island, okay? This would be an island because here's our water level, and this sticks up above. Okay, now sometimes these islands can be so old that the action of the waves and water have ground them down and rubbed off the top of them. That would be called a guyot. A guyot. Okay, so a seamount is an underwater mountain or underwater volcano. An island is a mountain volcano that's built up and up and up till it's above the water, and a guyot is one that's been cut down and flattened off at the top. So let's recap here. We start at my beach house, and we go out into the ocean, and we have the continental shelf because it kind of sticks out. If we go far enough, we start dropping down towards the ocean to the deeper parts of the ocean. That'll be the continental slope. Sometimes we may come straight to a deep sea trench, or we may come out and we go straight on out into the Abyssal Plain. The Abyssal Plain is the flattest place on Earth. Now the reason it's so flat is because for thousands upon thousands and millions of years, sediment and sand and dead creatures and all have drifted down to the bottom of the ocean and smoothed it out and flattened it out. Okay, so continental shelf, continental slope, abyssal plain, deep sea trench, depending on where we are. Then we have the mid-ocean ridge. Mid-ocean ridge is the longest chain of mountains in the world. It's over 40,000 miles long. In the middle, and what's happening here is the ocean floor is splitting apart. We have a divergent boundary. Right through the middle of the mid-ocean ridge, we have a rift valley. I think of the word rip because it's being ripped apart. Okay, and then we may have some seamounts, which are underwater volcanoes, and they could also be just regular mountains formed by plate tectonics. But a seamount is underwater. If it gets tall enough, it may stick up above the water, in which case we call it an island. And in some cases, that island's old enough, the top may be ground down by the waves, and we call that a guyot. Okay? So, there you have it.